Israel is now 66 years young. One of the state's leading historians and former ambassador to the United States, Michael Oren, told IBA's Steve Leibowitz that we have a lot to celebrate, as well as some work to do.
I think we've gone far beyond the wildest dreams of our founding fathers. There are 8 million Israelis today. On the eve of Israel's founding, May 14th, 1948, there were 600,000 Israelis. That's about half the size of metropolitan Washington, D.C., about the size of, I would say, a mid-sized American city. So really nothing. And those 600,000 were able to hold off the invasions of 6 Arab armies. They were able to absorb more than 10 times that original population within the first decade of Israel's existence, to create an economy, to create a thriving democracy that has never known a second of non-democratic governance. It's one of the few countries in the world that can boast that, and become a leader in technology, in science, in medicine. I think all of that, plus a very bold citizens' army, was beyond the wildest dreams of Israel's founding fathers.
So Israel is coming to be known as a startup nation. At the same time, we've been struggling with poverty and the haves and the have-nots in our country. Isn't it about time that we started to take more seriously the social problems that we have in our country and stop focusing all the time only on defense and security issues?
Well, I think we can't afford to keep put our guard down. We are surrounded by very large and serious forces that are committed to our destruction, and we cannot afford to be cavalier or less than vigilant at any given second. At the same time, as a modern state and as a Jewish state, we have a responsibility to all of our citizens, particularly those who are struggling socially and economically, to assist them in every way we can. That is our duty as a Jewish state.
Do you think we've been accomplishing that, or have we let that slide a little bit and it's an area that we have to have some improvement?
I think it's a work in progress. Much of Israel's poverty is affected also by traditional communities, both Arab and Jewish, that have to be brought into the workforce. In the case of ultra-Orthodox Jews, the men. In the case of Arab families, the women have to be brought into the workforce in the 21st century in order to be competitive economically. You have to have both parents working, and I certainly know that, and so do you, Steve. And so that's a work in progress, and we can always do better. We can always do better. But having said that, Israel is now a member of the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. It makes us one of the top 31 economies in the world. Our average income is approaching that of Western Europe. And again, all of this probably would have been unthinkable in May 1948, when this was a very poor country indeed.
Israel's receiving warnings from some of our friends that we have to move quickly towards a two-state solution. Otherwise, we'll lose our Jewish identity. Can you understand those concerns?
I believe that Israel has, as a fundamental responsibility, preserving its identity as a Jewish and democratic state. I do not believe that if Israel fails to reach a two-state solution, then we will somehow forfeit the only way of achieving that goal of preserving our identity as a Jewish and democratic state. I think there are other options available to us, and I personally believe that those are the options that we have to adopt. If the Palestinians are serious and carry through on their threat to go to the UN and declare a Palestinian state unilaterally based on the 67 borders without recognizing Israel, without making peace with us, then Israel has to respond by declaring its own borders that will give us a maximum amount of security and embrace the maximum number of Israelis.
What's your message to the Jewish people on Independence Day?
First of all, Mazal Tov. You know, we're a different country. Not many countries in the world celebrate their independence by putting the number of years of their independence on the top of every building. You don't walk around the United States and say 235 on the top of a building on July 4th. In Israel, on top of every building, it's going to be 66. I think the one reason we do that is that we're so amazed. We're so amazed that we've been able to make it this far, this long, and we just have to look up at that 66 and say, wow, we did it. And we did it, and we look around today, and whether it be in our universities, which are listed among the world's leading academic institutions, whether it be in our citizens' army, whether in the fact that more people speak Hebrew in the world today than speak Danish and Finnish, and we're rapidly closing in on Swedish, is a miracle. And it is, I think, incumbent on all of us to not only say Mazal Tov to one another, but be very grateful for what we've accomplished.
Israel is enjoying